Hey everyone, welcome to Mixed Signals. My name is Zane Van Dusen and I'm your host for this episode. The topic for today is fraud. We're going to look at it from a bunch of different angles. It's a subject that's really interesting to me. And so to get things started, I want to get you into this world of deceit and deception. So it kind of came to me naturally one morning when I was eating breakfast. I was eating my oatmeal and then I looked at the canister of Quaker Oats and I saw the Quaker Oats man and I started thinking to myself, what's the deal with this guy? Why, after all these years, they have this old school logo? You know, they haven't updated it. It's just like this very traditional looking man selling me oats. Is it a marketing campaign? Is it some kind of tribute to their history? Or is it just like a corporate fear of change? So I decided to do some basic research, and I found that the Quaker Oats Company has actually been perpetrating a fraud on the American people for over a century. So why don't we go back to the beginning, 1877, when the Quaker Oat Mill is founded. Henry Seymour and William Heston are the founders. Neither of them are Quakers. So you might ask, why on earth did they call it the Quaker Mill Company? Well, if you ask Quaker Oats, the official statement is that Henry Seymour was just flipping through the encyclopedia one day, read about Quakers and said, these guys seem pretty cool. They're all about honesty, integrity, and purity. That's what my company's about. Even though that very act is totally dishonest. It's totally inappropriate to do. You can't do that today. You can't just take someone's religion and say, hey, my company's like that. I'm going to make that my mascot, which is exactly what they did. They created a fictional Quaker character, just a stereotype of a Quaker, and they named him Larry. His name is Larry. He's the first trademark cereal mascot. Before Toucan Sam, before the Captain Crunch, he's number one, and he carries around a scroll that says pure. This pure scroll is a dig at other oats companies, because what they were saying is, well, Quaker Oats is the only oats sold today in a sealed box with a trustworthy Quaker on the front. Everything else is just sold out of a barrel by some random man. There is no evidence to suggest that when you look at history. So this ad campaign works. They're selling oats like crazy until cereal tycoon Henry Cromwell comes in and he says, I'm going to buy that mill company, 3 others, and take on the Quaker image and make a ton more oats and a ton more money. And this works for about 40 years or so. Oats are flying off the shelves. Everyone can trust the Quaker Oats man. He's selling the purest oats in the business. Cereal sales kind of plateaued a little bit around 1955, and they started a new marketing scam called the Klondike Big Inch Land Giveaway. They went up to the Yukon and they bought 19 acres of land. They split it up into 1-inch squared plots, created deeds for them, shoved them into cereal boxes, and then advertised that, hey, you can buy a box and you'll actually own 1 square inch of the Yukon land in the historic gold country. This was super exciting. Once again, sales were just amazing. They were skyrocketing. They couldn't stock the cereal enough because everyone wanted these deeds. They looked awesome. Take a look at them right here. They have these official seals. They have official plot numbers. They're all from this official company, the Klondike Big Inch Land Company. But the problem, and people treasured these. They kept them in safe deposit box. They handed down to generation to generation. But then they find out some news about it when they try to call in and find out what it's worth or actually take a look at their land. And they learn that, well, this Big Inch Klondike Land Company is just a subsidiary of Quaker Oats they created to shield them from all legal implications of what they did here. Because they didn't even take care of this land. They didn't pay taxes on it. They didn't pay $40 worth of taxes, even though they were making millions of dollars on cereal. And so the Canadian government says, well, we're going to repossess the land. Since there's no land left, they just decided to dissolve this Big Inch Land Corporation and then announce, well, those deeds don't really have intrinsic value. They're supposed to have a romantic appeal. Even though that kind of contradicts the previous statement that you will actually own 1 square inch of the Yukon territory. Hundreds of people call in every year asking, what's this worth? How can I go see my land? And they say, oh, you know, that company that did that giveaway, they're out of business, so there's nothing really there anymore. Even though it was their own company. Now you might say to yourself, all right, it was just a poor marketing decision. It wasn't well executed. But turns out this is their second land scam. That's right. In 1902, they created the Milford oatmeal lots where they bought 15 acres of Milford, Connecticut, and they split it up into 100 square foot plots, and you could mail in to get that plot and own it for yourself. Similar thing. They weren't keeping track of it. It was a headache for the town. The town couldn't manage it. No one could build on there. Yet people treasured these things. They kept it there saying, I'm going to invest in it. I'm going to sell it one day. It's going to pay for my kids' college. And then all of a sudden they call up and they say, oh, I want to redeem my land. And then what the town of Milford, Connecticut will tell you is, oh, we foreclosed on that in 1975 because it was just too much of a headache for us to maintain. And then if you ask the Quaker Oats Company, they actually deny this one even happened, but there is proof that it happened. After that, we get to 1945, where we see some really weird stuff happening in terms of new companies being bought or started by Quaker Oats. The first one is the QO Ordnance Company, QO standing for Quaker Oats, but you'll see they wanted to hide it for a specific reason because this company started a plant called the Cornhusker Ordnance Plant that manufactured millions of pieces of artillery and deadly weapons. This is a shot from the factory, and if you look up close, you can actually see it says QO, Quaker Oats, missile. That could be dropped on you. They sell that company and they buy Fisher-Price, a good replacement for the Ordnance Company. And then they start the Willy Wonka Chocolate Company and finance Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the movie, which to them is just an ad. So much so that they renamed the book, which is called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory because Willy Wonka is the brand name, and they really had to get that out there. They then get into the video game business. They buy US Games, which creates video games for the Atari. They buy Country Pure Foods, which is kind of on brand. So you see all this and you're like, what is going on? What the hell are they doing? Until you start seeing what happened the following year. 1 year later, they buy Gatorade, but they also sell US Games for $250 million. In 1985, they sell Willy Wonka and rights to the movie for $4.5 billion. In 1991, they sell Fisher-Price for $1 billion. They buy Snapple in 1994. 1997, they sell Snapple and Country Pure Foods for $300 million and $1.1 billion respectively, all the while holding on to Gatorade, which is their prized possession. This is a company that just exploded ever since they got it. And they get their big payout in 2001 when Pepsi says, screw it, I'm buying the Quaker Oats Company to get Gatorade for $13.4 billion. They made a huge amount of money on this. And it starts to make sense and answer the original question, why the Quaker Oats man? Because starting in the 1960s, they're more of like a mergers and acquisitions company. They're making tons of money like this. They're making tons of money buying and selling all these different companies. And they're still making money with the oats, but they got to sell the oats. You wouldn't buy oats from something like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley. It doesn't work, right? It doesn't feel good. You want to buy it from a traditional person, traditional values, who's going to give you something that you can trust, that's healthy, that's pure again. Even though this is all happening in public. There's nothing secret about this. I didn't have to do any secret files or research. This is all publicly known information. But you could see it, and you still see the man, and there's this disconnect in your brain that you're willing to say, you know what, this is a trustworthy company. I can eat their oats. And this starts hitting a nerve for me. And I start wondering, am I the Quaker Oats man? I do this so much. I do this so much. I'm so obsessed with fraud and, tricking people. Yet people seem to believe me. They get involved in projects I do, or they trust things I say, when really there's a lot of information that would lead you to believe that you really shouldn't. A good example would be in this presentation. I made up a lot of lies on this slide. They actually didn't make a ton of money. They were actually very bad at mergers and acquisitions. They were losing money or not getting anything. A lot of them went bankrupt. They made $300 million from Snapple, but they bought it for $1 billion. So it was a big loss. But the whole thing was I wanted to show the profit because it is about greed. It's still about the greed. It just helps make my point that I do something like that. But other things to know is, like, in college I started a website called Terrible Information, whose sole purpose was posting fake information on the internet to get into people's papers and screw with them. I work at a bank. It's one of the least trustworthy industries, investment banking. So if you're familiar with the recession of 2007, I'm part of that industry. I've done previous presentations like this a couple years ago, which I have not admitted till today were completely fabricated. I pretended like it was all real and told everyone there was one lie. The one lie was everything was a lie. And then finally, things like this microphone. This is all just for show to make this look like a real talk. And this is the stuff that I want to talk about in this episode of Mixed Signals. Hey everyone, we're here with Trevor Milton, the author of The Con Men Hustling in New York City. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you're an expert on the various cons that take place in New York City. So why don't we set the stage? What's a con? What's a con artist? What's it all about?
Well, the term con artist is short for a confidence artist. And that term was coined by the New York Herald in 1849. And this particular author was focused on William Thompson, who was the original confidence artist, con artist. And at the time, William Thompson used to walk around Central Park. He would dress nice. He would dress in, what was considered to be very elite, a very wealthy-looking clothing at the time. And he would approach people who were equally as wealthy-looking. Typically, would start a conversation with them. He would pretend to know them. He would, ask about their kids, ask about their business or something like that. So he would trick them into thinking that they knew him. And towards the end of the conversation, he would pretend that he didn't have his wallet or that he didn't have his watch, and he would say something like, "Do you have confidence in me to hold your watch?" And he would even say things like, "Do you have confidence in me to hold $20?" or something like that. Again, something that just would not work today, but really was a reflection at the time. So that's the original term, con artist. And today, similar meaning, very similar meaning in that the mark or the victim has to have confidence in you, confidence in something that you're doing in order for the con to work.
Very interesting. And so, how do they pick a mark or a victim? Is it totally random, or is there some psychology to it?
There's quite a bit of psychology to it. They typically like the naive, the new, people who are unfamiliar, namely, tourists. New Yorkers, this is one thing that was great about this book, was that New Yorkers, generally speaking, already are suspicious of con artists. They're already suspicious of scams. If somebody walks up to you and says, "Hi, my name's Jim, I'd like to talk to you," you're suspicious already. Yeah. And you're already trying to walk away from that person. But the tourist is going to stop. The tourist is going to be the person that's going to be like, "Yeah, I'd like to hear your talk." So, and to answer your question about how they pick a mark, it just kind of depends on the scam. I was going to give an example of, this is a little bit of an older con, but still, let's say you're in a train station, like Grand Central Station, Penn Station or something like that. Person walks up to you and says that they're lost, and they're trying to get to this hotel. They have the name of the hotel written down on a piece of paper, and you see the hotel, you don't recognize it, and the person says, "I'll give you $50 if you can get me to this hotel." And so it's right there, it's just the test. Are you the type of person that's going to be like, "No, don't worry about the money, I'll help you find it"? Mm-hmm. Or are you the type of person that's like, "Yeah, I'll help you find that hotel"? What's mentioned in the book is that in order for a con to work, you have to have larceny in the heart. It's almost like the victim has to be greedy. And this is why, also mentioned in the book, like the Canal Street chapter, for a lot of the salespeople that are trying to get over on people, they try to pick people, honestly, who are looking for a deal, looking for a sale, looking to be greedy, and those are the people that they want to get. And so, generally speaking, the vulnerable, the greedy ones, and anybody that you feel that you can fool, you can get over on.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this? Were you conned before? Do you know con men?
My co-author there's a main character in the book. His name is Alibi. He's kind of like the main character throughout the book, and he had tricked my co-author. Got over, and I can't remember the exact con that he tried to use on him, but he tricked him, and he was kind of fascinated that he'd been tricked, and so he had asked him I'm doing this book. Will you talk with me? And for myself, it was a little bit of a mix of the two. It was kind of funny because Terry Williams, the co-author, and myself, we had spoken one day and said "Hey, I'm writing this material on con artists," and I said to him "Oh, I'm writing this material about hustlers," and it was kind of I don't know, peanut butter and chocolate, making Reese's peanut butter cups, something at that point. And so, we were just, generally speaking, very fascinated with how people make money in a city where it's very difficult to make money. They say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Very few people make it here, so a lot of them hustle. What's great about the book is that I'm sure everybody here has been at least attempted I mean, the legal term's called fraudulent accosting, but, like, nobody knows that. But, everybody's been, someone's trying to trick you or someone's trying to get over on you. And I think this is why this is a New York-specific book, is because of how you have to deal with that on a daily basis. Somebody approaching you, trying to sell you something, trying to get over on a price. I mean, as folks who live in New York, let's say you want to buy some sort of electronics product, you know not to go to a secondhand store, right? Because if you've done that already, you know what happened when you got home. It's a good example in the book was this, the guy that worked on Canal Street. He spoke about how for generations he worked in electronic stores, and he had, like he would advertise an SLR camera, like a really expensive camera. In the window it would say $200. So he gets somebody, hey, awesome, somebody walks in, and then they're like, yeah, I would like to buy that camera for $200. And then he would say to them, okay, but you're going to need a lens with that. So the lens is another $200. By the way, you're probably going to need a battery for that camera. Battery's another $150. And then, eventually he racks them up to $750 to $800, and they're in the store, he's got them.
And the person leaves feeling good. They'll still tell their friends, because I grew up on Canal Street, and I know people would always brag, oh, I got this camera for $100 or something like that. But maybe the real con is they paid $700 for all this extra shit, and they're not going to mention that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they still got the camera for $200.
Yeah.
But to get it to work, you need all those other moving parts for sure.
Awesome. So why is New York City so prime for fraud? Like, why is it New York City? Like, you always hear about New York City being the center of a scheme or a fraud. Like, what is it about the city that makes it perfect for fraud?
I think a lot of the lore of con artists in New York City is focused a lot on, like, Grand Central Station, Times Square, these, like, tourist highways where people come through, and it's very easy to trick somebody, to get over on somebody. But it also does have a lot to do with the environment, just how crowded the city is, how people really want to get to somewhere all the time. And if I could speak for a second about, like, the hustler part of this. I mean, like, this is a very busy city. Your average New Yorker walks at 4 miles per hour compared to the 2.5 miles per hour of the rest of the country. We walk fast, we move fast, we're constantly, there's this saying that's like, move fast or get out of the way. Like that's just to, because it's at a big pace. So for the more honest side of this, the hustler side of this, like one day you might get onto the train and all of a sudden it starts raining. You get to the top of your train, the train stairs, and it's raining outside. Maybe there's a guy there selling umbrellas for $5. That's something that becomes a part of the flow and the rhythm of New York, where you give them the $5 and you move on. It's a 2-second interaction. Whether or not you want, I don't know, calling cards, a T-shirt, some art if somebody comes in from out of town. I think that New York is big for, like, that you can get your hands on something quickly. So then con artists move in, and con artists know what people want. They want watches, they want cell phones, they want handbags. If you grew up on Canal Street, you remember, the heyday of Canal Street, the late 90s and early 2000s, where everything was on display on the street. But of course, that's also affected by the laws of New York City. The Bloomberg administration started cracking down on all that. Now you don't see the handbags on the street, but instead you see what are called whisperers. Guys who walk around with those big black trash bags, and you really have no idea what they're doing until you walk past them, and they whisper, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, etc. Like that's where it's gone. That's where this has gone. But I think it's just the movement, the ability to disappear into a large crowd that New York City allows, that helps with con artists, and the cash that people walk around with. That's big too. So, yeah.
Super interesting stuff. So much more in the book. Go check it out. The Con Men Hustling in New York City. Trevor Milton, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Swoop and Squat. This scam involves 3 cars. Yours, plus 2 driven by fraudsters. Vroom! First, the swoop car intentionally pulls ahead of the squat vehicle and cuts it off, causing the driver of the squat car to slam on his brakes. Following behind the two, you may well be unable to react in time, meaning you'll drive straight into the back of the squat car. Of course, the swoop vehicle has plenty of time to drive off before you've even had a chance to look at their number plate. If you're not aware of this technique, you'll probably innocently tell the police that the swoop vehicle caused the accident. the helpful driver. This scam happens when you're trying to merge into another lane of traffic. The fraudster will motion you to come in. Then speed up so you collide with it, later denying all knowledge of their earlier signalling.
So Carol is back in town with her new boyfriend. He's a doctor. I don't know if it's PhD or MD, but I'm sure he's smarter than me. Yeah, they're coming over here at 9:30. No, I told her I was seeing someone, and she said she couldn't wait to meet them, so I panicked. I hired an actress off Craigslist. Vivian West. She'll be here any minute. I know, but I couldn't face her alone, and not with that other guy there. Yeah, I gotta go. My fake girlfriend is here. Yeah. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Oh, hi, can I help you?
I'm here for the gig.
Oh, no, you're not.
Are you Jack? Because I was speaking to some guy named Jack on Craigslist, so...
Oh, wait, you're Vivian?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, but you look nothing like the picture that you sent me.
Well, that was from a few years ago.
What? That can't be true.
Alright. Listen up, I'm going to be straight with you. I lied.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, I'm a good actor, and I need some work. So I stole a woman's picture and name. Big deal.
You're supposed to be my girlfriend.
I can play that.
Vivian West, pleased to meet you.
No, I should be charmed.
Charmed to meet you.
It'll play much better once I shave my legs.
So we're gay. Okay, that's the only way this makes any sense, is we're gay and we met at a record store 2 months ago.
Do we have to kiss?
God, I hope not. Gay, record store, 2 months, arm touching, never been happier.
No wig?
Carol! Oh my God, it's so great to see you.
You look amazing.
I'm gay.
What? So, where did you two meet?
Line?
Excuse me?
He's an actor, okay? I'm not gay. I just didn't want to look like a loser.
I'm an actor as well.
Where'd you study?
Self-taught.
Me too.
I've really missed you, Carol.
I've missed you too.
Our next artist has an album that's out today. You can stream it, you can download it. It's called Lies, Lies, Lies. Please welcome Nigel 747. That's nice. So should I understand that your album is a throwback? You've got like Sting and Puff Daddy.
Oh man, no. Those guys, I got, it's Nigel 747. When I put my touch on it, it's totally original.
That's an original track that
Oh, yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing.
Oh yeah.
maybe we should just get on. So what are you going to do for us today? Are you going to give us some music? Or?
Today we're gonna pick one of our lovely audience members to learn how to make a Nigel 747 track. You know.
Okay. Do we have any volunteers? All right. Yeah, you.
Oh, okay.
So what's your name?
I'm Carrie Ann.
Carrie Ann. Oh, sounds like Italian literature. Very nice. All right. So.
Thanks.
Let's just get to the demonstration.
Okay. So this. Zane, can you help me?
Yeah, I'll
my,
hold these.
My stuff. Here we have our MacBook Pro. Make sure you get the Pro version, okay?
Okay.
And there's this guy, Tony. He hooked me up with this thing called Logic. Have you ever used that before?
No.
Logic? Well, yeah, you call up Tony and it's like boom.
Okay.
Right, I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's more like this guy right here. Boom.
Okay.
No, it's not that button.
Do you want me to?
You can try it. Yeah, you can try it. Give it a shot. Try to find Logic. It's on there. You know.
Okay.
It's like on the bottom. Yep. There you go. She got it. She's good. She's good. Yeah. All right. So here today we're gonna learn a technique, what I call the start and stop technique. Okay. So what I want you to do is extend your right hand like this, and I use my index finger. Okay. You can use whatever finger is comfortable. Basically, you go up to this bar, and when I say start, you hit it, and when I say stop, you stop. You hit it again. All right? So I'll demonstrate like once or twice. Check it out.
Okay.
Start. Yep, stop. And then I can go a little faster if you like this. Start. Stop. Okay? You got it?
I
Try it. Try it out. Don't be shy. It's cool.
Okay.
Don't be shy. Oh, you gotta wait for me to say it. So hold on, and then kind of get in the position, like,
Oh wait. Do I?
You gotta mean it, like yeah. All right, cool. You ready? Here we go. Start.
Nigel,
Let it
can I stop for a second?
hold on
No,
one
because this is just my music. You're just playing my music. This is my band, Mind Troll.
Stop.
I see
What?
the video.
Yeah, this
no, wait.
There's a
this is
video
my
with the
band.
picture.
Yeah, can we stop this? This is my band.
Huh? What? What was that?
That's my thing. I recorded this.
Can I get my mic back?
Yeah.
All right. What was that? I'm sorry, I wasn't really.
I recorded that. That's my music. You can't just do that.
I'm gonna bounce.
Oh, that's cool. Good job. Very nice. No, I recorded that like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, at least 2 years ago.
No. I recorded that with instruments and everything.
Well, here's the deal. I got one of these Zoom H4s.
Right.
I bought it with my own money, right?
Yeah.
And it's got 4 mics. So here's the technique. This is a freebie for you, all right? Check it
Okay.
out. 4 mics, Zoom 4. You can go on the website, YouTube's a good one. Just let it stream out, and then capture the essence, with the Zoom 4. You get like surround sound.
You're just admitting that you're recording my music off the computer. You're just doing a shitty recording of my music.
Oh no, man, no, dude. It's like it's just all out there. I'm just harnessing the energy. It's like the zeitgeist. It's like German stuff,
No, we can't do this. There's like copyright stuff that's going to be problematic for this episode. Like, do you do anything original?
Yeah, I also do stand up.
No, we're not doing stand-up. That's not going to fit with this.
What?
No stand-up, please.
Okay.
No, you're just stealing Dave Chappelle bits. Please don't do that. Can you just get out of
My
here?
name is Rick
I'm really
James,
sorry.
bitch.
I'm sorry. Just get out of here. All right. I'm really sorry, everyone.
Got some live DVDs
What?
of Nigel 747.
What?
Does anybody
No,
here?
that's my
Does
shit.
anybody here want to buy these?
No, guys, can we stop doing this in the studio?
How you let him listen to the studio?
Look, you're a fraud anyways.
This?
No, please
I got
stop.
some more in here. Anybody want to
Look,
buy?
I don't know what's happening right I don't know what's happening, but this is Mixed Signals. The topic was fraud. We're so happy you tuned in. Thank you so much.
Gucci product.
Live DVDs, live DVDs.
Sitting on my couch watching a weekend-long Degrassi marathon, thinking about my career and Drake's career and how we're pretty similar when you really think about it, Well, then my phone starts ringing. Oh shit, I was supposed to be somewhere